In this video, we're going to see some features in the KeyView 12.10 release. We'll start with a brief overview of features, and then we'll look at a few of these in more detail. One of the key aspects of KeyView is its broad file format support, and we've extended that this release with Apache awk, PDF XFA forms, and additional metadata from MSG files. We've added the ability to retrieve certain document permissions, and continue to extend detection as well. We've continued to work on the OCR capabilities added a couple of releases ago by providing fine-tuning options and adding OCR to HTML export. In secure file sharing, we can now extract MSG files protected with RMS, and the Export SDK can also run its RMS decryption out of process. We also handle an upcoming change that Microsoft will be making to the MIP metadata location, which will allow RMS-protected files to continue working once these changes are adopted. In HTML export, we've continued to improve the look of rendering by adding the option for soft pagination. We've expanded the Java API for filter and added ODA support to M1. Finally, we've made some really good performance improvements to our Microsoft Excel reader. Let's have a look at some of these in more detail. Last release, we added two Apache database formats, Avro and Parquet, and this way we've added another, Apache awk, which completes that set of formats commonly used in data lakes. As before, each data type is rendered correctly, and the data is presented in reading order, but isn't actually presented in a structured table. We've added support for PDF XFA forms, which allows us to filter both the form information and the data entered by the user. XFA isn't actually part of the PDF spec, but it is commonly used, and so we now support it. We can also filter the JavaScript code, which can alter or rewrite the form if the Show Hidden flag is enabled. We are now able to retrieve all metadata from MSG files, rather than just a predefined list. And here you can see an example of us extracting from an RMS-protected MSG file. We've added the ability to report certain restrictions on a file, with the first restriction being the write restriction. This is anything that has been enforced with a password that prevents users from editing the document content. This is different to a file being read-only, since we'll report any restriction on writing. For example, if you only protected one worksheet of an Excel document, we would report a write restriction. We always aim to increase the list of detected formats, and you can see another 23 formats we've added this release. A couple of releases ago, we added OCR to KeyView filter. Our aim was to get the most text from the most number of situations straight out of the box, so you didn't need to do any setup. But you might have information about the files you're processing that can help reduce the amount of work that needs to be done. For example, if you're processing scanned documents, you might know that they will only be upright and only in English, and so we don't need to check different orientations and languages, which can lead to a performance benefit. We've exposed some of the options that allow users to take advantage of that if needed. This is an advanced option, so you can completely ignore this and KeyView will correctly process the images as accurately as possible. These options only need to be used in specific situations where you want to make an informed decision about performance versus risk of inaccuracy. We've also added OCR to HTML export. This renders the text as an invisible layer, which, as you can see, allows the text to be selected and therefore copied, but also searched for. Also to HTML, we've added soft pagination. On the left, you can see the output of Microsoft Word, and in the middle, KeyView's current capabilities, which merges the document into one long page. The page break you can see in the Word document isn't actually present in the file, it's simply inferred by Word itself because it's run out of space on the page. We've added a soft break option to replicate that behavior, adding a page break when the page runs out of text. At the moment, it overestimates the size slightly, so the page shouldn't be any larger than specified. There were a number of options available in the Filter C SDK that weren't available in the Java SDK, and so we've added the options you can see on the screen. This means that if you want to use the Java API for filter, you'll have access to everything the C SDK can do. This has been a brief look at the new features for KeyView 12.10. For more information, you can take a look at the 12.10 release notes, or the IDLE technical support team will always be happy to help.